Coin is catching a small bid today, but again, Bitcoin is just kind of going sideways. Just a reminder on Bitcoin, we basically have this high going across, and then we've created this little here, we've broken below. Unless you can recapture this area, then the favoring is down here before maybe a bigger bounce to the upside. Good to see gold ripping today. Bitcoin's not following suit. This is one of the issues I have with Bitcoin and why I ultimately think even if we get a move to 29,000, I still think we're going down to 20,000, maybe 15, maybe even lower, is that Bitcoin has no identity right now. All right, gold rips, Bitcoin doesn't do anything. The stock market goes up, Bitcoin doesn't rally. So, there's two narratives. There's, it's the digital gold. Well, it's not rallying with gold. Okay, so it's not that. The stock market has rallied. We saw a massive rally recently in NASDAQ just the last, until yesterday, the last week or so. Bitcoin didn't budge. In fact, it went down. So this is the thing, is that Bitcoin needs to figure out who it is and what it is. I do think eventually it grows into digital gold, and I do think it goes to 100K, 200K, 300K, etc. But right now, there's this identity crisis because money's being pulled out of the system, and it's on the risk curve. Speaking of risk curve, what is the risk curve? Here's a risk curve. Well, we'll do a line. Over here, you have meme coins, right? Meme coins. Then over here, you have alts, right? Then over here, you have BTC, okay? Then over here, you have small caps. All right, we're going to stocks now. Mid caps, okay? Mid. All right, then you have large caps and mega caps, right? So when money gets sucked out of the market, out of the system, like the Fed is doing by interest rates being raised and they're reducing their balance sheet, money leaves this area first, this area second, this area third, this area fourth, this area, and so on and so forth, right? And that's what you want to understand, is that eventually money gets sucked out until money starts coming in, until the printing presses start rejuvenating, and until we see the Fed lowering interest rates. So really important stuff to think about in terms of the risk curve and understanding why are meme stocks or meme coins and all struggling so much. Is because the money, that's the riskiest investment there is. All right, it's really the riskiest. And that's where when you pull the money out, that's where it's going to come from first, and it still stays in these. When all out panic hits, finally these go, and then that's when a bottom is made. That's when a bottom is made.
In a significant twist, Bitcoin's price climbed above $27,000 as the SEC decided not to challenge a court ruling supporting Grayscale's bid to convert its Bitcoin Trust into an exchange-traded fund, ETF. Grayscale and the SEC initially clashed over the ETF, but a landmark ruling by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals in August mandated a review of this SEC's rejection, potentially signaling a softer stance. The broader crypto market sentiment suggests multiple spot Bitcoin ETF approvals by early 2024, involving major players like BlackRock, Fidelity, and Vanguard. However, Bitcoin's price hasn't skyrocketed due to the market already anticipating these ETF approvals. According to David Dong of Coinbase Institutional, Bitcoin might not surge significantly even with ETF approval. The SEC's decision not to appeal Grayscale's ETF ruling is a game changer, potentially bringing institutional investors into the crypto world and legitimizing Bitcoin. Still, Bitcoin's path to the moon depends on various factors, including regulatory acceptance, technological adoption, economic conditions, and mainstream recognition. Challenges like high U.S. inflation and increasing interest rates could keep Bitcoin in its current price range for some time. However, with potential ETF approvals and the buzz around Bitcoin halving in 2024, the cryptocurrency's price might surge significantly, considering it's currently trading well below its all-time highs. As the SEC adapts and major financial institutions enter the crypto space, the future of cryptocurrencies looks promising. Grayscale's ETF journey could mark a new chapter in digital finance and propel Bitcoin's price to new heights. The SEC's choice not to appeal Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF ruling is a big win for the future of crypto investments. The court's ruling will likely instruct the SEC to reevaluate Grayscale's application and may influence other asset management firms with similar applications. This development emphasizes the need for clear crypto regulations and could make digital assets more accessible to investors. The number of Bitcoin addresses holding at least 10 BTC has reached a new high of 157,400. This signifies steady accumulation by retail investors, even though it doesn't necessarily mean increased market activity. Despite price fluctuations, retail confidence in Bitcoin's long-term value remains consistent. Let's continue our enlightening discussion with Gareth Soloway.
Economic data And finally, a little bit of good news. We saw import price index, right? The import prices. Forecast was 0.5% increase. We saw only a 0.1% increase. As soon as this data hit, the futures were down. They started to reverse and rally to the upside. Now, we're not up a huge amount, but ultimately, it's the positive nature. Finally, after PPI on Wednesday, CPI on Thursday, both coming out hotter than expected, finally showing that prices are coming down. The markets are rejoicing. Okay, so that's number one right here. Now, a couple other things I want to go over. As we get into this, we got to look at the 10-year yield. Now, you can very clearly see the 10-year yield. This is the 10-minute chart. We've started to fade as those export prices came out or import prices came out. The 10-year yield is going down. We know that markets move inverse to the 10-year yield right now. So if the 10-year yield is fading, that's going to be a positive for risk assets like Bitcoin, like stocks, and so forth. All right, then if we flip over to the dollar. The dollar is down a little bit on the day right here. And again, had a huge update yesterday, which spooked the markets. But again, we are seeing it coming back in here. All right, going back to the 10-year yield, quickly showing you this. This is your daily chart on the 10-year yield. Just to reiterate what I've said for every day in this game plan for the past week since it occurred, there's your topping tail. To me, that's the only thing that matters on the daily chart. Unless that topping tail is negated, and by the way, for those of you that are new watching me, topping tails are reversal bearish signals. So unless that gets negated, it is a downward general trend on yields. Doesn't mean we can't have a bounce like yesterday, right? But overall, look at yields right back down today. Also, if we just flip over to the bigger time frame, the monthly, I continue to be a fan that the monthly is telling us, and the monthly is the biggest time frame of all, it is telling us that we have topped here. All right, so you can see all these trend lines. Look at the pullback we got off this one. Look at the pullback we got off this one. The thought process is topping tail here with the trend line. So not only potentially do we have the trend line hit, which should cause a pullback, but we get the topping tail. It's like having two factors there that are pushing it back down. I would expect a retrace at least back, honestly, sub 4% over the next 3 to 6 months, maybe even well below 4% on the 10-year. Now, again, should we get above this trend line and confirm? Should the topping tail be negated? Well, then you have a whole new ballgame. Then you accept the facts that the charts, again, have changed, probabilities have changed, and markets, again, or at least yields could go higher and markets could go lower. Dollar chart, again, guys, really everything you need to know here if I zoom out on the US dollar. The reason why I'm showing this is just because this is where I think the dollar is going. We know that the resistance lines are perfectly aligned here, so we have the pivot point on the dollar. We had a bounce yesterday. We're starting to come in. This is your target right down here near term. Notice it's this pivot high right here as well. So you're looking at 104.50 as being your downside target on the DXY in the near term. I think we probably hit that within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Again, if I'm correct on this, the markets may still have a little bit of upside to go before we get another big rollover as the economic data starts to spiral into a major recession.
That wraps up today's crypto news highlights. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and analysis from the world of cryptocurrencies. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.